Yeah, actually I have. Do you hear that music?
Yeah, where is that coming from?
So this is a story all about how our body works even upside down. So if you'd like to take a minute, just sit right there, tell you all about how we as mammals breathe air. External respiration deals with gases in our lungs, but it all starts when oxygen comes dancing past our tongues. Whether you breathe through your mouth or nose, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you how it works for both the former and the latter. The act of breathing air into the lungs is inspiration. It requires as much effort as it would being on vacation. Expiration is the act of breathing air out, but you will breathe in more in a second, so please do not doubt. When air is inhaled, it's confronted by the cilia, and when they do their job, they give the air a little feelia. So if you ever wonder why you cough, it's because all of the bad particles are being filtered off. Now the pharynx or the throat is like water to a boat. It's where all of your sinuses intersect, and then they all branch off to different areas in your neck. So now let's say thank you to our F-beak glottis, because it's why we're able to swallow like a goddess. It allows the larynx and esophagus to separate, which helps us to not breathe in the food we ate. For our next step, let's travel through the trachea. A cartilage ring surround it, so it won't break in ya. Follow the trachea as it divides into two separate bronchi, one for each side. Ciliated mucous membranes line these tubes, which help continue filtering O2 when it moves. This lining remains as the bronchi branches into our two large air-filled mansions. As the bronchi branch into the bronchioles, it helps us reach all of our breathing goals. They're a network of finer and finer tubes that contribute to the pathway the air moves through. The bronchioles and clusters shaped like grapes, and these small sacs are where gas escapes. Alveoli is the name for these small sacs, and they're also known as the oxygen trap. They increase surface area and slight gas exchange. Everyone's got them. They're really not strange. A large capillary surrounds each one, and the work never stops because the job's never done. A two-celluloid layer is what causes separation. Gas moves across. It's a perfect situation. During inspiration, oxygen fills the lungs and diffuses across the membrane faster than one by one. Oxygen enters the capillaries. Each one binds to an RBC. That's a red blood cell found in you and me, and then you get an oxyhemoglobin protein. At the same time, CO2 diffuses out, for it's a travel back to the exact same route. Once it's back inside the alveoli, it travels back through the bronchioles and then the bronchi. For its next step, it travels through the trachea, larynx, pharynx, then the final area. Carbon dioxide is now exhaled, and then we thank our body because we have not failed. I hope you now know about what happens beneath, and you can think about that every time you breathe.
The circulatory system is where your blood flows, all the way down from your head to your toes. At the center of it all, the heart goes lub-dub, as blood passes through our circulatory hub. With oxygen in the arteries but not in the veins, O2 and CO2 levels are what this maintains. Oxygen to tissues and CO2 to the lungs, the exchange site of capillaries is where this becomes. But what really is blood? It's not just some red goop. There are many components to it, just like a chicken soup. RBCs with hemoglobin carry oxygen we need. With blood cells fight infection to stop an antigen stampede. We have platelets to stop bleeding, but plasma makes it most. It has gases, waste, and nutrients and carries them to their post. The circulatory system is divided into three. The coronary, systemic, and pulmonary systems there be. The vessels between the lungs and heart is pulmonary. Systemic takes place between the rest if necessary. Coronary, however, is set a bit apart, for it only takes place within the heart. So where does blood come from? It doesn't just appear. This is the bone marrow and spleen's main career. The bone marrow makes stem cells which are building blocks of blood, and the spleen too makes blood cells. It's not just a dud. As you can see, for this big system to work, there can be no anomalies in its tightly knit patchwork. The heart and the blood cells, they are all connected, and through their function, our whole body is affected.
Immunity is a state of resisting disease. Get the vaccine so COVID don't make you wheeze. You're born with active and passive immunity. Active cells will target a specific antigen. They're acting like an aggressive community. Cytokines divide the B cells in clonal expansion. They create the antibodies that make that virus memories. Passive blocks every affliction. Chemical and physical barriers stop them without consideration, leaving them in the dust. The body has 3 lines of defense, so let's not leave you in suspense. The chemical and physical barriers create the first to make sure that your body never needs to be nursed. They block and break down the bacteria so they never have the chance to create hysteria. The second eliminates all invaders in the body at first sight, from the phagocytes that will eat your blights to the inflammatory response triggered by histamines. Inflammation places the pathogens in quarantine, so phagocytes have the chance to clean. A fever raises the body's temperature because germs can't grow in the rice cooker. The third line of defense is specific. The cytotoxic T cells leave pathogens like a brick. Memory T cells remember the virus to make sure you never get sick. Immunity is the body resisting pathogens, and ability is valuable as will bullying. Lines of defense keeping the bacteria at bay in hopes that we can live another day. Memory B cells making antibodies fighting against those antigen armies, leaving the virus in yesterday. Oh, just like such chugging Bombay. B cells bind to the antigen. Helper T cells create B cell proliferation. B cells produce plasma with antibodies that bind to the antigen militia. Memory B cells keep you immune. Cell-mediated is the other part of this crazy cartoon. Cell-mediated is triggered by rogue antigens. The T cells proliferate and create cytotoxic T cell. That kills the cells committing mutiny. Humoral and cell-mediate make the antigens cease to be.
The reproductive system. It's not that hard. You were born to do it. It's just a feeling that happens after you've kissed him. Get tested so you won't transmit. Ask for consent and find her clitoris. Don't be a hypocrite. Lift up the penis. What do you see? Well, it could be anything, but I think it's the testes. Just doing their job, producing testosterone, making up sperm through the vas deferens. For when he's blown, next thing known, she'll be full term, producing progesterone. Semen goes into the vagina through the cervix, uterus, and fallopian tubes to fertilize the egg. If it's a girl, let's name her Carolina. First she gets food from the boobs, then she's got pubes and an addiction to YouTube with so much GnRH in her hypothalamus. The gonads, testicles for a dude, ovaries for the girls. But don't worry, everyone's born with 2. They each make a haploid, put them together, and we get a baby. Let's hope they're employed. After the baby's born, she stops producing progesterone, only to going back to just the estrogen, releasing an egg every month, then sloughing off the endometrium.